do know, first off, that there are ice axes and there are ice axes. This is a definitive tool for climbing, often used in mountaineering. They're used for creating anchors to tie ropes to, chopping, picking, balance, if you have a basket. The original and the old ice axes, I dug around last night, guys. I knew that this would come up, and all I could find was a rental ice axe. But I have my old original. I still use it. You may see it in some pictures that I post every once in a while. But it's an old ash-handled, 3-foot-long ice axe. And what we had, I'm just going to pick on this guy, down near the bottom, down near the point, right about here, would be a button on the edge. And the button was to keep the basket in place. You could take on and off a snow basket. Realize, and I may be drifting from your topic, so you're going to have to remind me, if this super feet insole was the snow, and you're walking along, let's do it this way and let's tilt it on edge because you're going across a traverse. When people are going across a traverse, you'll watch them. They'll touch the snow with their point of their axe, and then they'll take another step and touch the snow and touch the snow and touch. That's a walking axe. That's not what it's intended for. It always belongs in the uphill hand, and it's always plunged, or should be, all the way to its head, because it's an anchor. If you go down and you're tethered to it, this sucker isn't going anywhere. So therefore you don't tumble down the hill. It may be uncomfortable. You may hit the deck and hurt your shoulder, but you're not going to end up in the tree or the lake or the creek or go over the cliff. So an ice axe is meant to be an anchor for you. But if you're using it as a walking stick and you don't have a basket, the basket would stop you here, wherever the basket is anchored to the axe. If you don't have it, it's going to plunge in suddenly because you just lost your balance. You took a stab with your ice axe to catch your balance, and it goes into the snow. Therefore, you fall over and tumble down the hill. Yeah, they just cut it. They cut it at an angle at the end, and it might even be hollow. Some of them have plugs on the inside of their shaft so that it can't fill up with snow and that sort of stuff. Okay, like I mentioned in an article I wrote just the other day, a lot of through hikers don't know what they need in an axe. They don't know what the axe does, so they don't know what features to look for when they buy it. They don't understand the purpose of the thing. So what you need, you've got to know what you're going to use it for. If you're going to use it only for crossing 20, 30, 40 degree hillsides, which of course, most people don't know what that would look like anyway, except that perhaps the kiddie slide in the park near you might be 15, 20 degrees, something like that. Even a water park slide is not as steep as the stuff you're going to see in the Sierra. And if you realize that you need an ice axe as an anchor, or you need some way to maintain your balance so you don't fall, it's all about prevention. Will an ice axe be what that's what I don't have. Major fail. Will you need a self-arrest pole or an ice axe? But if you really are sold on it, like people have some people have more of a climbing background, and it's true. The ice axe is your definitive tool for self-arrest and all the other fancy things that climbers do that hikers don't. But if you're sold on the idea and you're going to be using it for balance, you need something long, because remember, you're going to have a basket. Oh, maybe you better find out if the ice axe even has a basket. Well, they're not made. Well, I don't even know if they're made anymore, because you don't see the buttons on the bottom anymore. So therefore, you can't be used as a walking stick, which is there to prevent you from losing your balance. See, that's what your poles do. They keep your upper body. All right, let's do this. They keep your upper body from moving. Here's your slope. Here's your foot. Your upper body is in a plumb. It's straight up and down. Everybody likes to walk straight up and down, right? Even if the ground is sloped. So when you first lose your balance, or should you trip, post hole, slip on the ice, whatever, what happens? Gravity takes over and your head goes downhill. It's just the way it works. Unless you aggressively catch yourself and throw yourself into the hillside and land on your butt. That is really a great technique, but who knows when you're going to fall down? So that has to be sort of a reflexive thing you do. So you've got to have the ability to maintain your balance, because that controls through your arms, through your poles, to your shoulders and on up, where your head's going. When you lose your balance, you want to be able to push your head into the hillside. That way you don't go head first down the hillside. Maybe you'll land on your butt that way. So you need a long enough axe to pull that off. Most hikers don't realize anything but the weight of the axe. Oh my God, this is 23 ounces. This is 15 ounces. I want the lighter one. And also the length. If this is a very short axe, this axe isn't even as long as my arm. In the self-arrest position, you want to be able to, in order to have enough leverage to keep this thing from going from here, your self-arrest position, it's going to want to rotate around the pick. The pick is driven into the snow, and I've got the weight of my upper body. My chest is astraddle the shaft of the axe. I don't want to be up here. I don't want to be throwing my axe. I want to roll over on top of it. There are a number of techniques, and I teach all of them so that you can then figure out which one you want to use. But the end game is this position right here. You need a long enough axe that when your hand holding the bottom, if your hand is on a short axe way up here, I don't have as much leverage to stop this thing from rolling. I do if it's a long axe and I can get my hand all the way out there and I can bring it down here. So it's much more functional if it's longer for walking, if you're controlling your balance with your axe. It's much more capable to keep it from rotating if it's longer. But most hikers don't know to pick a long axe because they want something light, but it's non-functional. And what you'll see is, you'll see them walking with their axe and they're doing that little touch thing where they're going across the slope and they're just touching and they're just touching. But with a really short axe, they're bent over. They're bent over to try and get the axe to touch the snow. So they have a little bit of security in, the pole and downhill hand, axe in the uphill hand, touching with every step. Now they're bent over and that's causing an imbalance. That's why I'm a proponent of 2 poles, maintaining your balance so that you don't fall in the first place. And with a self-arrest pole, you have the axe pick on the top of the pole. Here's how you measure it. I don't know if I can do this on camera, but I'm going to give it a try. It's a lot easier to show you than to try and put it in writing. I'll tell you that. You want to assume the position. God, I got too much stuff around. I got to make a little room. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the position that you're going to adopt for self-arrest. You're going to see where both of my hands are, and I'm going to tell you, because I think my head is going to be off camera. I'm going to tell you how to measure this thing. What you want to do, let's see if I can do this. Almost do this. Let's tilt this. You're going to see a little bit more stuff. Let's see, and then see if I stand. Okay, oh, there we go. You want to take this position, elbow to your ribs. So elbow should be right here. Your adze, this thing is called an adze. This is the pick. This is the shaft. This is the point for turns. Thumb is always under the adze. Fingers, 90 degrees across the top. I don't care how you want to pile them in the side. Some people do the little Vulcan split. It just doesn't matter. Thumb under the adze, 90 degrees across the top, elbow in, rotate your hand up to your collarbone. Should look like that. Shaft goes diagonally across the chest to where, if you bang on your pelvis right here above your pocket, you'll feel your pelvic bone. That is where this hand should be. It shouldn't be up here. It shouldn't be way down there. It needs to be right here so that this position does not move. You roll to the pick and you land on it and you dig in your toes and you put all your weight on the pick and you come to a stop. If the ice axe is short, I'm hanging on like a little bird on a branch. And this wants to come up. With more leverage, I can pull it down. This also wants to drift this way while you're self-arresting. Climb up on your axe and get your chest on it. So I don't know if that helped answer the length thing, but because everybody's got different length torsos. So you've got to really kind of measure from your clavicle down and across to your hip pointer, your anterior iliac crest, really, and then add about 3 inches, because you can't hang on to your axe here. You want to have a little bit of the point sticking out. This is the place on the axe where you want to hold on to it. You'll also notice on some axes, they have a rubber grip area right here. So you hang on to it right above the point. So you got to add 3 inches for this little bit of stuff sticking out the end. You don't need a curved axe. That's for climbing, like waterfall climbing. Mm-hmm. A straight shaft is best. It's simple. If you can get an axe that'll take a basket, if you're going to be using it in the walking manner, which is what you're going to do across every steep traverse, you don't walk across a traverse ready to go. It's going to be in your hand, uphill hand, but you're probably, you got to find some way to maintain your balance. So you're going to be using your axe. As soon as you deploy it, you're going to be using it like a pole. So you better have a basket on it. It's not going to do you any good. And then you may want to be taking the basket off for some other purpose later. Say you're using your ice axe as an anchor for your tent. It's in a corner of the tent, that kind of thing. Comparison between self-arrest pole and ice axe. Same idea. With the self-arrest pole, you don't have the danger of slicing up your neck and face with the adze. What happens is in the self-arrest position, until you get trained, remember, this thing is here. If you can't control this in the self-arrest because the pick here is plunged into the snow, right? Remember, last night we were saying there's stuff in the snow that this is going to come in contact with, like ice, rocks, branches. What happens then is this grabs and the adze here passes by your face. And also, self-arrest is anything but calm and smooth. You're bouncing and stuff like that. So this is moving around while you're trying to hold it on your chest. So if you don't have this sharp adze near your face or neck, as in the self-arrest pole, it's the same deal. Thumb under where the adze would be, fingers across the top, assume the position, which I always tell my students and they think it's kind of funny. Here's the position. I am doing the same thing with the ice axe that I would, doing with this thing. And they added a canard wing. I imagine the guy that decided to stick this thing on there was named Canard. But what it does is, as the pick is being drawn through the snow, the wing is more adds resistance, so you come to a stop sooner. That way they got away with having a shorter pick. You'll notice that the pick lengths are different. So there you go. Doesn't seem like it's, well, yeah, it does. So an ice axe will have a longer pick. Self-arrest pole has a shorter pick, but it has a wing. The wing is designed to keep you from going too far down the hill and hitting the tree. So with the self-arrest pole, You can maintain your balance so you don't fall to begin with. And if you do, it's right there, to self-arrest. Also, it has a traverse handle or traverse grip, and that's handy. But for the most part, to teach people about self-arresting, it's best just the way it's taught, or the way I teach it, is an ice axe is always your anchor. It's an uphill hand on a traverse. The self-arrest pole is in the downhill hand. That way people kind of differentiate which one goes where. But of course, you can carry a self-arrest pole in your uphill hand if that's your thing. If you want to do that, that's fine. This thing also is always tethered. You're always tethered to your self-arrest pole. You do not want to lose it. People say, well, what the heck? It's gonna helicopter around. It's gonna hit me when I'm tumbling and junk like that. I would rather it hit me. What's gonna hit you? This is attached like so, and it's here. And say I'm flailing around. Well, what's gonna hit you is probably gonna be the shaft, or you're gonna tumble over the shaft at one point or other until you get on your back and you can go, hey, there it is. Assume the position, roll with pick. So, length is not an issue. Let me show you. As we did a minute ago, let me move this up. I want you to be able to see how this actually lines up. Most folks, at least I set mine about 120 in length. When I assume the position, my hand is going to be right around the flip lock. It's also a very thick part of the pole, so it's really strong. You notice I only have one lock on this whole pole. Let me get it. There we go. You don't want 3 sections because then they get thinner. And then if they're thinner, they're less strong, especially down low. And that's the place where it's probably going to bend first. So anyway, let's get back to this. If I assume the position, elbow to the side, pick adds area about my clavicle, diagonally across my chest, hip, thumb. I want my thumb on the hip bone. Take the pole and move it over to it and grab it. That's my position I want to be in. Now, where's the rest of this length? It's coming out my side. It's not an issue. You can't see it, but see, if you always go to the pick, that's the takeaway expression. Roll to the pick. If the pick is on this shoulder, because I'm now traversing with a hillside on my, it'd be on my left, right? Yeah, I gotta get my shit together here. If the pick is on this shoulder, I'm not gonna roll that way. First of all, the rest of the pole is in the way. So you're gonna roll to the pick. So always remember, roll to the pick. If it's in this hand, if the self-rest pole is in your left hand in this case, I'm gonna roll to my left. Having a long pole isn't a problem. It's not an issue. So we teach all of that. When you first learn self-arrest techniques, you do so from a seated position with your feet below, just like you were glissading. So you lay back on your back, you roll to the pick, wherever your pick, whatever shoulders it's on. You start there, and then you end up turning around and starting on your back. It's weird feeling. People go like, God, I feel really strange. Then you start sliding on your back, and all you do is roll to the pick. It's really simple. There are other techniques, and I'll show you that too. And then you can decide what works best for you. But to get the idea, the mechanics, the mechanism of self-arrest, you initially start with really simple ways to remember it. And then you have to practice enough so that you don't forget. It needs to be reflexive. As soon as you find yourself going down, you've got to assume the position and roll the pick. You can't be bouncing down the hill going, what did Ned say? It just doesn't work because you speed up as you go. And the faster it's going to take longer to stop. I know we went on for a while, Carol, but I think it was good to finally compare between ice axe and self-arrest pole. This also is my other pole. It's the Black Diamond Traverse pole. I don't care about brands. The only thing I like was this grip. I like the grip area on this. So if this is on my uphill hand, remember, Whippet's in the downhill hand. This is in my uphill hand. I'm going to be hanging on to my pole at a lower level because I don't want to hang on to my pole way up there because I can't take my hand off the handle. They give you another handle down low. So it's a little more convenient and easier for you to maintain your balance.